And as soon as I told them that he was breathing fast and he had a high fever, they were like, go to hospital. Hi. Oh, hello. Good morning. Hi guys. Today is a new vlog. And it's kind of poignant that Cooper just came up and said hello because he's kind of like the main event of this vlog. So basically what I'm going to do is just flash back to a whole bunch of stuff that happened last week to do with Cooper. And then when you come back to me, we'll talk about it a bit more and go from there. So see you soon. Alright you guys, good morning. So this is a bit of a odd start to a vlog. It's actually not even morning, I think it's afternoon now. We've been in hospital all morning checking this guy out. I'll give more of a history at home when I can actually sit down and talk loudly about it. But it's been a very, very long 24 hours, which I'll catch you guys up on all later. But so far this is where we're at. He's otherwise happy, it's just his breathing that's a bit not great. Okay, so hi. We're home from the hospital. That little clip that you just saw was literally all I filmed yesterday because I was too busy taking care of him. Basically, I'll just give you a little bit of a backstory as to why we were there in the first place, and then I'll talk about the hospital visit in total. So the last few weeks, Cooper's had this kind of like weird grunting cough happening, and we actually took him to the GP to kind of get it checked out because it was a bit weird. Yes, Cooper? Yeah. We're at the doctor getting that checked out. His chest sounded fine, his throat looked fine. He did have like a chesty cough, but his chest didn't sound too like congested. But she did notice that he had a bit of a rapid breathing, which just means that he was working overtime to get breath. Like he was, I think his breast per minute at that stage were like 54, and they should be like under 30 or under 25 even, or something like that. It was high. She did kind of urge us to go to emergency Monday night, which I did take him into emergency on Monday night. But the wait time is going to be about 5+ hours. There was like 60 people there waiting. So yeah, I talked to the triage nurse after being there for a couple of hours, and I'm like, look, he's not actually that bad. He's breathing all right. Can we just go home and I'll keep an eye on him? And they said that was fine. And then last night, Ray actually stayed interstate for work, but I had him on my own last night. So I was looking at him and he started to actually get a bit hot. So I checked his temperature and he had a fever and it was above 39, and I freaked out a little bit because that was one of the things they told me to keep an eye on. When you're breathing that rapidly and you develop a fever, sometimes it can be a sign of pneumonia. And it can get bad very, very quickly, so I was panicking a bit there. I rang Nurse on Call to get their advice, and as soon as I told them that he was breathing fast and he had a high fever, they were like, go to hospital. I then rang my mum and talked to her at length because I was panicking a bit, and she lives too far away to kind of come at short notice to look after April and everyone else. It was kind of like that moment where I didn't know whether or not it was serious enough, but I knew it was not serious. Anyway, I gave him some Panadol. I watched his breathing, I gave him a lukewarm bath, and then I put him to bed because he was exhausted, and I kept an eye on him all night. I even set an alarm. He did wake up a few times coughing and having coughing fits, but his breathing didn't get worse, and his fever did come back once, but it was managed with Panadol. Like, it kept coming down with Panadol, so I wasn't too concerned, and he wasn't being lethargic or not himself in any way. He was only kind of like that night when before I gave him Panadol, but as soon as I gave him Panadol, he was back to himself. So yesterday morning I dropped off April at preschool. Cooper usually does go to preschool too, but I decided to take him into emergency just to get this figured out. He was acting normal, he was being fine, but his breathing was still quite rapid, and I was just worried about the temperatures. We got there and there was 3 people there, but we still ended up waiting nearly 4 hours before we even got called in, and then we waited for another like 3 hours before we even got into a bed. But during that time we got called into like little procedure rooms to have him looked at by doctors and nurses. The doctor had a listen and found that there was some wheezing on the left hand side, which can be an indicator of like an asthmatic response to something. So they were concerned about that, and his oxygen level wasn't too low, but it wasn't normal. Decided to give him some Ventolin. So we got this spacer thing and some Ventolin and gave him that in hospital while they were looking at him. as well as some oral kind of steroid type things, which was like a liquid form steroid, I think. Pretty much as soon as he had this, his fever came back very, very high, very, very quickly, and he became really lethargic and a bit twitchy and all over the place. I was not happy with this response, and I wasn't being paid attention to at this point because we still weren't in a bed. So we were kind of just sitting on the waiting room chair waiting for them to notice, and I kept being like, is this normal, is this normal? That was probably the worst time for me in the hospital with him, because I was seeing him decline really, really fast, and he just had medicine he's never had before. I did get a nurse to come look at him. She took his temperature. He was febrile again, which means above 39 or high fever. And his oxygen levels had gone down very, very low to the early, like the low 90s, which isn't low enough for them to be like, oxygen now. Like, they weren't panicking about it, but I could tell they were a bit concerned that he was kind of okay, and then all of a sudden he's just not. So that, plus his temperature rising, plus the fact that he was a bit twitchy and he was very lethargic, like he fell asleep. It put him to sleep. I could not wake him. He did not want to wake up. So that was hard to see him like that. They gave him some Panadol and they kept monitoring him very, very closely, still sitting in the waiting room chair. And I kept having to give him the Ventolin puffs even when he was asleep, just to get the air into him. We finally got put into a bed at about, I want to say like 4:30 or just after 4. So that means we got there about 7:45, 8 o'clock, and we got into a bed at 4:15. By this time he had perked up a lot. He'd woken up. His oxygen levels had come back up to the okay range. They weren't normal yet, but they were okay. So I think it was just kind of a mixture of the fever, new meds, and him just being tired and over it that just made him kind of just plummet. The pediatrician came and saw him, checked his lungs, said the wheezing had gone, or it was barely noticeable anymore. His oxygen levels were okay, and his breathing was still a little bit rapid, but it wasn't as bad as when I got there. And they said to me, are you comfortable giving him Ventolin at home? And I am, because I've used Ventolin myself before. So they said if I'm comfortable enough using it at home, as well as some liquid, the liquid steroid thing to give him for 2 days, then I can take him home and put him to bed. So that's what we decided to do. He's woken up this morning, no fever, no anything. He's still got that cough, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was happening, and we're giving him the Ventolin every 3 hours. Basically what they told me is that they would label it as a mild asthma attack brought on by a viral cough, but they can't call him asthmatic yet because he's only had 1 episode. So he has to have more than 1 episode for them to say, yep, he's got asthma. It's just one of those things now where I'm kind of hyper aware of him breathing, and I'll be checking on him a lot. His breathing has slowed down a lot today though, so he's nowhere near as bad as he was 2 nights ago. I'm just glad he's okay, and he's fine. He's pretty much back to his normal self apart from the cough, and when he runs around too much he starts to get a bit out of breath, so I'm trying to teach him not to run around as much. But how can you tell a 2.5-year-old to stop having fun, especially when they've got a 3.5-year-old sister that wants to run around too. Anyway, I've talked for nearly 12 minutes, so I'm going to stop this clip, and yeah, hopefully the next clip you see will be of him being happy and normal and all that. Hi guys, so it is actually the day after I started yesterday. Hi Cooper. So yeah, that's basically how last week went down with this guy. To give you a bit of an update on how he's doing, the first few days after we came home from the hospital he was having Ventolin every like 3 to 4 hours, and then we kind of weaned him off just like morning and night time, and then just as needed. So far I haven't had to give him any this morning. It's only when I really noticed that he's out of breath and not getting any better. Other than that, he's doing well. He knows the routine if we have to give him, can you not draw on my face? He knows the routine if we have to give him any Ventolin or his spacer. Can you not chew on that? Not in your mouth please, thank you. So he's pretty good at doing it, and he knows what he has to do.
I did it!
We've got an asthma plan now, and he's got a Ventolin pump at his childcare now as well in case he needs it. So really it's just kind of waiting to see how he goes, if he grows out of it, if he develops any more episodes or anything like that. I think it's more going to be when he's sick, he might need it a bit more. I don't think he's going to have like, well I don't know, but so far I don't think he will have asthma attacks for any other reason. I'm hoping so anyway. Are you good? Yeah? Not in your mouth. You're good. Cheeky as always. We are actually making cards for Father's Day, which Father's Day will have happened before this video goes live, so it doesn't matter if I'm showing you. So Cooper's making a card for Daddy, aren't you? What's on your card? You got the word Dad and a giraffe and a basketball. It's pretty cool. What's on your... Cool, it says Dad, basketball and a hippo. And soon we're going to make cards for Papa. I took some photos as well yesterday, which are really, really cute. You've probably already seen them by now though. Alright, well I'm going to go and then get ready for the rest of the day. I'm also feeling better today. I've still got a really sore throat and still got a lot of pressure here. So I'm a little bit worried that I'm developing like a sinusitis thing. And we're back. We went to swimming, we came back and had lunch. And now what are we doing, April?
We're making cookies.
Who are the cookies for?
With Dad.
Yeah.
Dad.
Yeah, we're gonna make some cookies, some choc chip cookies for Father's Day to put in a little jar that we've made him. So the kids are gonna help me mix this up and make these chocolate chip goji berry almond cookies. They're not extremely healthy either, which is a nice change. I make a lot of healthy cookies in this house. Alright, we ready? Well, Mummy should probably plug this in, hey? Cooper just cracked the egg all by himself.
Oh, let's get another egg.
Yeah, we have to get another egg now. It's all over the bench. Right, you don't touch eggs unless Mummy tells you to, okay?
Mommy, do the egg in the house.
Good job. Can you give Cooper a turn?
Yep.
And then Mummy will take over.
And my turn again?
You can have a turn when we put the goji berries in. Oh, it's a bit hard. Alright, so cookies are cooling. And decided to get these kids out in the fresh air for a bit. Thought about going for a walk down to the park, but I honestly can't handle it right now. My head is just pounding. Off you go, 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 go! I've got like a really weird pressure feeling going on between my eyes and in my nose. I'm gonna go to the doctor's this afternoon when Ray gets home. I need to get a blood test anyway for an appointment I've got next week, so I'll get that all sorted and hopefully it's nothing too horrible. Probably just tell me that it's a cold that's just going on for too long. Or I keep getting new strains of this cold. Anyway, I'm not feeling too hot, so I'm just going to get some fresh air, let the kids play for a bit. Hopefully they stop fighting for 5 minutes. Good job! She's getting so much more confident on this bike. Oh, good job balancing. That's really good, Baba. Good trying. I actually can't get over how good he is on this tricycle. Like, he even knows how to steer it now. Wow! That was really good. Okay, well anyway, I'm gonna go because I'm not feeling the greatest. This vlog's already getting kind of long. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. It was a bit of a rough one for us with him in a hospital and not really knowing what's wrong with him, but now we've all got it sorted. It's all good. And I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.